Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Cobra Shadow Tracker, and this is a figure that I'm really excited about. It's a character that we've seen in figure form before. I don't even know if Shadow Tracker has been in the comics or anything like that, or if he was just a figure in the modern line. But I kind of don't care because this guy looks pretty badass. He's got that Predator vibe. He's got, he's sort of a mix of Dreadnok and Predator, which I'm really digging. So let's take a look at the packaging. On the front, we get this digital render of Shadow Tracker. We get this, it looks sort of like a Mayan pyramid or something going on. We get the Dark Energon here as well. I like what they're doing with the storytelling. Now, I don't know if I've seen anybody mention this or talk about this, but you can see right up at the top there's somebody there. It looks to be some sort of skydiver or halo jumper or something like that. I'm not entirely sure who that is. But I suspect, somebody is gonna mention that and sort of come up with an idea of who that might be. It looks to be somebody in a gray. It could be airborne. It might be airborne. I'm not 100% certain. Let me know in the comments what you think. This might be alluding to. Is this in reference to the airborne figure that we're getting, or do you think that's somebody else entirely? Anyway, we get the loadout of accessories that are in the box there. We get the art on the side. The art doesn't really do this one justice. Normally, I really like the art. This art seems not as good as like the digital render, and like the mask thing just doesn't look as good as at least the way that it looks. And maybe it's as good as it will be in person, but it doesn't look as good as it does in the render. On the side, we get that blue digital version of the art, the QR code, and the 4 specialty icons, which are tiny that we can't read. Shadow Tracker is 6.4 inches, so he is definitely going to be one of the taller figures. We get the full loadout of what is in the box there, and then a call out to some of the details. The skull on his shoulder, the bones on his belt. This guy just looks absolutely chock-a-block full of cool details. There's some legalese on the bottom there, and more on the bottom. The full art on the side, which, as I said, doesn't really sell me on this figure as much as the figure sells me on this figure. And Shadow Tracker is number 108 for any and all of you that are keeping track. The package is fine, but it's what's inside that counts, so let's get this guy out of the box. All right, so here is Shadow Tracker out of the box. And he is every bit as mean and nasty and menacing as I anticipated he would be. That said, I do have a few nitpicks. It is a great figure, but some of the issues that I've had with recent figures are sort of rearing their ugly head here as well. And it's the paint apps, like the sloppiness of the paint apps. The bones on his necklace look like they were sort of put in the box wet, and they're all scuffed up, which is a pain in the butt. The belt on... If I spin this around, can I spin this around? I don't know. The belt looks like it's painted, on the front, but they didn't continue the paint around the back. So the belt itself, like this rope part, and again, it's light over dark. It's yellow over dark gray. And I've seen this issue a few times recently. But this one is especially bad because, as I said, they didn't paint sort of over the edge. So on the back of it, it's just gray. You're not going to see it on display, so that is why it's a nitpick and not really a criticism. The bone on here has a little bit of a spot where the paint is kind of crummy too. And the yellow on his collar is a bit of a mess. I mean, I don't know if they were in a rush to make this figure, this specific one, or not. But yeah, some issues there. There's a cool sort of leopard print on this pelt that's on his belt, which looks okay, except that it's glossy over matte. And to the best of my knowledge, most animals don't have like glossy over matte on their pelts. So again, it's kind of just a weird little thing to nitpick, but it is what it is. The painting on the skull mask that he's got, I don't know. I mean, I think it looks the way they wanted it to, but it doesn't look that great to me. When we get to the accessories, you know, we'll there's masks that go over top of this one, which is good news because this one doesn't do anything for me. The bad news is that those masks aren't perfect. There is a paint app on the top of his head that makes it look like he has kind of gray hair, or something, which is fine. All in all, the figure's good. I mean, the deco's good, the design is good. I'm here for it. I like it. I'm glad that we got Shadow Tracker in the classified line. I hope that the accessories kind of make up for some of the issues that I'm having with this figure. The accessories are cool, but I'm just hoping that they fit and they work the way that they should. So let's take a look at the accessories. First up, we've got the backpack, and the backpack is pretty cool. It's got, as you can see, a few spots to store a few things. It's also got a slot there for another arrow. So he does come with another arrow, which is going to slot in there, which is cool. Hopefully this mounts properly and it's nice and snug. It's a little bit longer peg than some of the other backpacks. It's also shaped. So hopefully that is going to hug his back nicely and not fall off and fall all over the place. We shall see when I get him all geared up. As I mentioned, it does come with an arrow as well. The arrow is, of course, crooked, so I'm hoping that some hot water will straighten that thing out. Because otherwise it sits in the backpack funny, but that's okay. He gets an axe, so I don't know if this is a particular, real world type of thing, but some nice sculpting on that. No paint apps at all, just a plain black axe, which I'm okay with because it looks good. We get a knife with a painted blade. This is a nasty knife. I mean, look at that blade. Look at all the weird stuff going on. I don't know if that's effective or not. I'm not a knife guy. But it would freak me out if I saw that, out some maniac with that knife out in the world. Then the last accessory that we get as far as weapons go is, of course, his compound bow. And this, of course, comes with this little bit, which is not a silencer in this case or a suppressor. I don't know what these are for, to be honest, on a compound bow. I think it's for balance, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be totally wrong. Let me know in the comments if you're an archer and you know what that is. Let me know. It does something. I literally have no idea what it does. But anyway, there you go. There's his bow. Now the coolest accessory to me, and as I said, hopefully these sort of make up for the deficiency of what's going on there. We get two masks, and these two masks fit pretty nicely over the face there. First off, we get a skull. There's a little bit of hair on here. There's still teeth on here. The paint apps on this are okay. The paint apps on the fur aren't that great, but there's kind of a wash to the bone. It's not painted at all on the inside. But you can see that it is sculpted, and that sculpting kind of matches that face so that it stays on there okay. It's not a perfect fit, but it's a better fit than this one. But we do get this translucent mask as well. This is what, to me, gives me a little bit more of a Predator feel. A little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more future tech. And this to me is the cooler of the two, so that's probably how mine is going to get displayed. But yeah, as I said, the loadout is pretty cool. Let's see if it makes up for some of the deficiencies in the figure. I'm going to get this guy all geared up and give my final thoughts. All right, there is Shadow Tracker all geared up. He looks fantastic. Full disclosure, I completely ripped this pose off of the Hasbro Pulse website that showed this picture, just to get an idea, admittedly, of sort of how I wanted to get him posed up, and I've not done a great job of it. This figure is pretty cool. The accessories are great. I think I'm still struggling with a few of the like QC issues that the Classified series is having, as far as the paint, as far as just in general. I think they've it's the weirdest thing. Like, I feel like they're trying to achieve too much. The first few waves were just really good. They just did really good work. They executed everything really, really well. And in the last, 6 or 8 months, I think some of the QC is just not as good. The quality has dropped a little bit. The paint apps have dropped a little bit. And with as many figures as we're getting, I think it's easier to be a little bit more critical. I think objectively, we're now kind of looking for reasons to not get figures. Now, what I will say is with this figure, this is a really great figure. It's designed well. It's executed really well. Mine has some issues with it. As I said, some of the paint apps on mine are bad. Maybe they're better on others. Everything fits on this guy. Everything works. The arrow fits nicely in the backpack. The backpack is nice and snug. If I move this arrow is going to fall. I'm almost certain of it. Because it is very, very precariously sort of held in there. But the backpack fits nice. So it's a nice snug fit for the backpack. It's not going anywhere. The arrow plugs in there. You can fit the blade in there. The bow will actually clip on. His axe goes in a little holder on his leg there. So all in all, I mean, this guy has done really, really well. And I'm very, very pleased with how this figure came out. Now, a little bit hard to get. It is a Walmart exclusive, and I know that some people have had their Walmart exclusive orders canceled. I was lucky enough to get one. I will say this. If you are lucky enough to get one, great. If you aren't, you're probably okay missing this one. It's a great figure, but is this like a need figure? Is this a figure that, if you don't have in your collection, your G.I. Joe collection is going to feel incomplete? No, I don't think so. I think that, Shadow Tracker being a newer character introduced in the figure line in the modern stuff, if you can't get this one, I don't think you should be heartbroken. But it is a fun figure. As I said, it's a cool figure, and I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to add him. I think he's going to be a Dreadnok, at least in my collection canon. So I'm happy to have him, and this is a figure that I would recommend if you like the look of it, the design of it, and so on and so forth. I think this is a figure that's worth getting, but not one that you necessarily need to stress over. So all in all, a great figure, and happy to have it in my collection. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss future videos, please hit the bell icon for notifications. Until next time, bye-bye.